American Football Stories is brought to you by Coach Paint. Coach Paint is a great tool that allows us to add graphics to player highlight clips similar to the graphics you see on TV. Coach Paint offers the ability to clearly tellustrate video while increasing retention of information in a shorter amount of time. Up your game with Coach Paint today.
What time is it? Game time! It's gonna be special. They gonna talk about this forever.
Welcome to American Football Stories.
Puts his head down, crashes and spins, and dives. Touchdown!
Bringing together the many perspectives that make up college football in the NFL.
Football is one of the greatest sports ever invented.
From players and coaches.
Believe, baby, believe, baby.
Hey, we playing to win right here, fellas.
To the front office and scouts.
The public is finally beginning to catch up, but they don't even know half the truth.
Us against the world, let's get it.
Your hosts, Robert Parker and Nick Knudsen, bring you American Football Stories.
Welcome to the American Football Stories podcast brought to you by Coach Paint. My name is Nick Knudsen, my co-host Robert Parker. Today is February 23rd, 2021, and we're joined by former Oregon Ducks nose tackle and current NFL draft prospect Jordon Scott. Welcome to the show, Jordon. Thanks for coming on.
What's good, man? Appreciate you pronouncing my name right. A lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, we can't all be named Robert Parker, man. That's not all. Not all of us are blessed with that. But hey, how weird does it sound for me to say former Oregon Ducks nose tackle? You've been up in Eugene for a few years.
Oh man, since I've been out here training, I just been reminiscing of my days in Oregon. Man, really special place, and I'm blessed to have been able to be a part of something special down here. Yeah,
it goes fast, man. But hey, we also we want to give a shout out to your agents, Cliff Brady, Ryan Downey at Shark Sports Management. That's Shark Sports Management for setting this up. And just for our listeners, a little rundown on you. Quick scouting report from the Draft Network. Scott aligns that it's an inside defensive lineman for the Ducks hybrid defense, mostly at nose tackle and the zero technique. Bit undersized by NFL parameters. I'm reading that, Jordon. I'm not saying that myself. By NFL parameters.
You good.
However, his good athleticism as evidenced by his get off and agility. He's a shorter player that plays with natural leverage, and when his pad level is good, his bull rush is effective. And anybody who's seen Jordon on the field knows that he is a terror up the middle, made an immediate impact in his career at Oregon. And we'll get to that career at Oregon for a second, but just so you know, you're walking into a podcast here with a couple guys who consider themselves Florida Gator fans. And at one point, you being a native of Florida. Now, it says you're from Largo, but I saw in an interview where you mentioned you're actually from South St. Pete.
Yeah, I'm from St. Pete. The Largo, I don't know why they always do that. It's because of my school in Largo.
How'd you end up at school there?
Actually, funny story, like my mom lived very, very north, like not in St. Pete. We was almost like Clearwater. Mm-hmm. And then my freshman year, we moved back to St. Pete, but I just still went to the school that I was on to go to. So
right. Yeah, the connections.
Part.
Yeah, the connections all built out there, and football made sense there.
Well, not even that. In Florida, the schools go by zoning. So I was, from my past address, I was zoned to that school.
Yeah. All right.
And it just turned out that my high school coach was my dad's best friend when they was growing up, though. So.
Oh, there you go. That's the connection there. There we go. So in May of 2016, you end up committing to the Florida Gators when Jim McElwain's coaching there. And hey, we're still seeing it on the Florida side. Guys like you keep getting out of state, man. What happened that made you commit from the University of Florida, if you don't mind sharing? Decommit.
Well, it wasn't by choice. I was going to sign early, and once the early signing period time came, they basically called me and was like, you gained too much weight, so we're going to go with another guy. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so they told me that I had to not decommit. They just told me they wasn't going to take me. So I kind of opened up my recruiting process by default.
Well, so at that point, Bobby Petrino comes to visit you. I read Southern Cal makes you an offer. Ole Miss makes a late push, but in December, Oregon hires a guy who'd been coaching college football in the Tampa area for a few years, Willie Taggart. How well did you know Coach Taggart from his time at USF in Tampa?
Pretty good. I took like 3 or 4 visits while he was a coach there. They were one of my first offers, USF was, so we were always kind of in contact. But not only Taggart, but Coach Levitt. Coach Levitt was who got hired as DC there. So
right.
Coach Levitt will always come to my school and be like fired up. Like he would tell me like, I don't believe you'll come to my school, but you're a great player. Because at the time he was coaching at Colorado, and I wasn't gonna go to Colorado, so he already knew that. But he would come and tell me like, you're a great player, and I wish I could coach you. And then it kind of just all played out like Taggart and Levitt, and they both went to Oregon, and that's when I just committed.
Yeah, Levitt. I imagine Levitt operates on that level most of the time.
Always,
not most of the time. Okay,
believe it. That's my guy, though. I love Coach Levitt.
Yeah, another guy with USF connections too, right? Another guy with USF connections back in the day. Man, he was a great coach at USF. So Taggart ends up at Oregon in early December, and by mid-December they make the offer. I saw Christmas Day that year you end up committing. No chance you were able to visit Eugene in that short amount of time. So what was that like? That making that decision? I mean, obviously, look, growing up in our generation, I mean, we all played NCAA football. Oregon had the sweet unis. You got the Nike connection with Phil Knight. Like, I mean, it's an awesome program from the outside looking at it. I mean, is that what you saw with there? Or did you get an extra feel for it by the time you decided to commit without a visit?
So it's kind of like it's all just came full circle for me, because I remember when I was playing Little League, my Little League coach texted me once I committed to Oregon. He was like, you always said you wanted to go to Oregon, and somehow it just worked out, because I used to watch Mariota and DeAnthony Thomas. Everybody in Little League wanted to be Michael James and all those guys. So I always used to tell my coach, if I could go to Oregon, I would, and it just played out that way. So plus the national championship game, I remember like that was a big moment for me when I really started taking college football serious. So it just happened that I got blessed to go to Oregon, man, and it was a great experience.
So those Chip Kelly Ducks teams caught your attention early on growing up. I mean, yeah, those teams are a total blast to watch. But what was Eugene like when you got there? Was it what you expected, or more than you expected? Or because I mean, I always hear about the facilities out there are just top notch.
Just everything is football Disneyland, man. Including the classroom side as well, though. Every building is state of the art, high tech, and even where we go to tutoring at called the Jaquil, it's all top flight. They also getting a new building, the science building right across from the Jaquil. So it's more than advertised. It's one thing you got to go see, even if you're not a Duck fan.
So no hesitation to go across the country to school when Willie made the offer.
Nah, as soon as really I committed before, like when he offered me, I was at a state All-Star game in Florida, and I told him on the phone I was gonna come, but I just was waiting until Christmas to announce it.
That's awesome. All right, well let's jump in freshman year.
Yeah, so you get on campus, Jordon, and you have a tremendous freshman year. I mean, freshman All-American. Could you walk us through the process and your mental awareness in regards to making that transition from the high school level to the collegiate level?
I would say the biggest thing that helped me was my trainer, Coach Marcus. He coached at my high school, and probably like right after my freshman season, I played against Mason Cole. He got drafted first round. He played for Michigan. He played for Cardinals now. I played against him, and he dominated me, and I told my coach that I would never let that happen to me again. So after that, me and him started working together every day, and we worked real hard, and then I became a prospect with some offers or whatever. But I came in and I already knew that I had to work hard and carry over that same work ethic that I had in high school, and things just played out for me to be on the field, and I performed.
So once you arrived on campus, did you think that you would start, right away? Did you think you would have an immediate impact right away, or that's something that you thought that it was going to take time and you were just going to have to grow into that role of being a leader on the defensive line? And just, what was your mental processes like that?
To be honest, I came there thinking like I'm gonna play. At least that's the least. Like I knew I would. I didn't know I was gonna start, but I knew I was gonna play. So that was my mindset. Like I got to do whatever it takes to get on the field. And if I claim, I mean, like I'm gonna have to work to earn the starter during fall camp and in spring ball because I graduated early. So, and if everybody watching, I don't know where this going, but if you can graduate early, do it. It's the best decision I made, and that's probably the biggest reason why I started.
You heard it here first from Jordon Scott. If you can, graduate early, enroll early on campus to kind of, get that jump start on everyone else. But with that being said, after your first year, Willie Taggart shocks the world and he leaves and he takes the Florida State job. So, after Willie Taggart leaves, the guy that actually, kind of brought you out there, even though you said Oregon was one of your dream schools, what was your approach after Willie Taggart left the program?
It was me and about 8 other guys he brought out there from Florida. So we all in the dorms going through it mentally, man. It was tough. Like he left like that whole week before though. He was telling us like he wasn't gonna leave, and that's what just made it all worse. Like we all were arguing in the locker room like he not leaving, and then some players like he leaving and it's going back and forth, and then the day that he leaves it's like whoa. And I just remember thinking like I don't want to transfer because I actually like Oregon. I like playing here. Like I like what comes with this school. I like my team, but at the same time, like I am far away from home. But I was like, it doesn't even matter because I like it, so it's cool. I'll just see what happens. And then when the team started making that momentum for Coach Cristobal, then I knew that I could stay because he came from Alabama, successful program, and before he was the head coach, he was one of my favorite coaches on the staff. So.
Now, when Willie Taggart leaves the program, it really seemed like a group of you guys kind of really, made the push for Mario Cristobal to become the head coach. What was the thought process behind that? I know, has the Alabama pedigree. He's been there, done that, won rings, and coached some great players in the NFL. But was it a little bit more just kind of working with him daily and just his thought process in regards to the program? So could you speak on that for a little bit?
Well, personally, when I first got there, I always hung out with the older guys, and Terrell Crosby and the O-line. Pretty much every O-lineman was like, we should make coach. Like it was just like a real team thing. Like once the Taggart left, everybody was like, we should make a petition for Cristobal to be the head coach. And I was like, and then they came out with the Cristoballing slogan, and everybody was. Everybody was going Cristoballing on Twitter to get Rob Mullen's attention to be like, we really want this guy. Don't bring in no new guy. So I think that was a big reason why we got Coach Cristobal in there was everybody believed in him and everybody wanted to see him in that position.
That's some good stuff right there. So just going back, I'm a big film guy, Jordon. I love to break down film. I love to watch it. Myself and Nick, we actually work with the East-West Shrine Game through Dan Shanka, the executive director or whatever. But with that being said, I noticed, early in your career, you had that bull rush. You use your physicality, just putting your hands on the O-line and just pushing them back into the defense. But throughout your collegiate career, as I followed you, I see that you're better with techniques. You got more moves now than just a bull rush. What do you hold that to? Is that coaching? Is that something you picked up watching film? Pick it up watching the playbook, just watching the scheme of the offense? What is your transition? What's your thought process on picking up more moves, throughout your career?
I think every year up until this past season, where production was down a little bit, but that's what it is. But every year in the offseason, like I told you, man, I was working with Coach Marcus, my guy from high school, and each season we started doing more and more. And then as the seasons went on and we started noticing, hey, you could do this more, you could do this. And then guys on Instagram started doing like Coach Brandon, guys like that. We started copying those drills with my coach, and then I just start trying to use it in the game. So I feel like it was pretty much coaching, man. I wish I would have started doing the moves more earlier in my career, but it just shows me that I have room to grow, and there's still a lot of potential left.
So it's a viral video out there of Aaron Donald, training with knives. Is that something that you will work into your, training repertoire, or is that's just crazy? That's just nonsense. I know Aaron Donald's a beast, but it's crazy to see his workout with the knives and everything.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I need to get my hands on his level first before I try to get in front of some knives, though.
Well, hey, Jordon, going back to when right after your freshman year, when you guys go Cristobal in here, we've seen the transfer portal really evolve during your time at Oregon, just coincidentally, just during this period of time. How do you feel? Because I think you'd be a good guy to speak on this. How do you feel as a guy that went cross country, sight unseen, committed, and then your coach leaves after 1 year, and you're talking about you're considering maybe transferring at one point, you decided to stay, but because you liked Oregon a lot, and Cristobal gets named head coach. But do you think that if someone in your situation next year, say, if that happens to them, they should be given the right to transfer and play right away?
Definitely. That was one thing that was also a factor. Like, I didn't want to have to go to a school and sit on the bench, watch everybody play. Like, I'm already at my school, so. But definitely think they should change that rule, especially with how coaching jobs are turning over now. Like, my friend that goes to UCF, they've had a new coach every year since he's been there. So I definitely think the transfer portal should implement that rule that if your coach leaves within the first year, you should be able to transfer without it being held against you.
Yeah, and I think college football's heading that way. But
yeah, definitely the transfer portal has definitely came a long way from what it was until now with the grad transfer and you can leave and all of that. So I think it's good for football in general, because now it seems like talent is more spread, even though guys are committing to different places, but the transfer portal also is helping that out too.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And it gives you an opportunity to maybe even roll the dice and go cross country and then say, maybe I'd rather be back in Florida, right? Like, I mean, so it's good. It's good on all levels, but really, so in your sophomore year here, from the outside, it looked like Oregon made as smooth of a transition as you could possibly make, like from Taggart to Cristobal. I mean, it was a younger team with Taggart that first year. There's some growing pains, and it really took off in year two with Cristobal. But what differences did you see in the way that Taggart ran a program versus the way Cristobal, who, like you said, not only Nick Saban guy, but Miami Hurricane national championships background, right? Back in the day, like on those Hurricane teams, guys seen a lot of football. What differences did you see between the way those two ran a program?
Well, Coach Taggart had a different philosophy in terms of, not as serious, not that he wasn't serious, but, everything wasn't, boom, 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 meticulous. Coach Cristobal comes in and turns it into, we're doing this here and this here and this here, and you know what you need to be doing, you know where you need to be. And then once that's over, we're doing this, this, and this. Like, it was always a plan. And what I liked about Coach Cristobal, regardless of what it was, he would always tell us what the plan was, even if it had nothing to do with us, like stuff that we can't control. He would always tell us, like, I'm doing this for you guys behind the scenes, or this is the schedule. Like, I like that part because, being in college, you don't really have, you kind of like under whatever they say.
Yep.
So, yeah. So Coach Cristobal made it feel like not as much as, you don't have to wonder what's going on the next day. And that was cool. So
just maybe like you always hear about that with Nick Saban. Wow, everything's so clear. Like, just the communication level is just very high. Clear understanding of what you needed to do. Well, the other note I got from this year was Joe Salavea comes over from Washington State to serve as the run game coordinator. What type of impact did he have on your game?
Coach Joe, great guy, man. What I really like about him, he played before and he played in the league for a long time, so he knows what it looks like. He was able to give me some real inside D-line tips about, what to look for, hand placement, formation rec, stuff that way. So it was pretty cool to play for a coach that has a lot of NFL experience. And he wasn't just in the NFL; he actually was pretty good. He showed us some clips.
Oh
He
yeah,
always pull up some highlights.
8-year career. He played with that Tennessee Titans team that went to the Super Bowl. Arizona under Dick Tomey and Desert Storm out there. Great play. That's why I figured he'd have an interesting, some interesting notes for you on that. But was he not just the fact that he played? Did he bring anything different on the mental side too, or was it just mostly you picked up a lot of physical things from him? I mean, I imagine as a coach who's played that mental side, they know exactly what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, he also, because everybody deals with stuff outside of football, so it was pretty cool to see him be able to switch from being a coaching football and then a life coach as well, and coaching us through things that each player individually went through while we were there, and helping us out with a little advice here and there and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool to have a coach who could be there for you for on the field and then some off the field issues if there ever arose.
So we're gonna transform into your junior year, Jordon. Your junior year, you get a new defensive coordinator, Andy Avalos, who was just named the head coach of Boise State. What was it like playing in Coach Avalos' defense versus Coach Levitt's defense?
Coach Levitt's defense was pretty much straightforward. You line up, go for it. We had a couple stunts, but nothing major. And then going from that to Coach Avalos had us doing all type of line up here, slant here, and all stuff like that. So it was cool to get that experience of being in two different systems and seeing how learning some new football and new terminology.
So on the season, you racked up 32 total tackles, and for a team that nearly missed the college football playoff, but you guys also won the Pac-12 championship that year. So what was it like to be part of the first Oregon team to win a Pac-12 championship since 2014?
It was pretty amazing, man. I always felt like every year that I was there, we could have won it. The Pac-12 was so balanced that any team could beat any team, and that's why I think a lot of people think the Pac-12 is weak, because any team could beat any team any week. So I feel like it was pretty special my junior year, man. All those older guys that I came in with, and one of my guys, Troy Dye, Herbert, the whole line, like guys who I seen, work hard, and we all got to experience that together, and it was great. It was just like, I couldn't explain how it felt, man. It was just that type of moment for that team to finally break the threshold and get there and win, and then go on to win the Rose. I mean, was that the Rose Bowl?
Yeah. Rose Bowl.
Go on to win the Rose Bowl. So it was an amazing season, man. Really blessed to be a part of that team.
How I heard it a little bit in your voice there, but how tired of the Pac-12 is the Pac-12 question? People question the Pac-12. Are you? Like, I assume as a Pac-12 player, you're pretty sick of that narrative.
Yeah, man, it is what it is. Like,
yeah, but how many people on the East Coast are up watching every snap of a 10 p.m. kickoff game?
Nobody. Right? and that's the thing about the Pac-12. Like, every team is pretty equal between each team, which what makes everybody think the conference is weak. But I feel like we showed, at least Oregon showed when we play Auburn, that we belong on the Power 5 level, and if we would one play goes our way or another play, we win that game, and that show and that would validate, So it's just things like that it really hurts us, because if we win that game, then people could put some respect on the Pac-12. But at least showing up and playing how we did, can't win them all, but we would have loved to win that one for the team.
Let me ask something too about the Rose Bowl, because I am originally from Columbus, Ohio. My mom went to Ohio State, so I grew up a Buckeye fan. The Rose Bowl was everything back in the day for a Big Ten, Pac-10, Pac-12 team. I don't think people around the country understand that. Was that something that Oregon, you guys, the Rose Bowl you went to was only the 8th time in school history that Oregon had been to a Rose Bowl. And I know it's happened in the last decade a couple times, but that's a pretty significant accomplishment out in Eugene still. Like, I mean, did you feel that level of excitement? Even though, I mean, we get so obsessed with the college football playoff these days that we lose kind of some of the cultural stuff. Like the Rose Bowl, winning the Pac-12 and making the Rose Bowl is a big deal still.
Oh yeah, man. It was, one thing about that team, that Rose Bowl year was, we never looked back at the games we lost or the games we won. It was always about the next game, man. And that's what I really liked about that year was nobody cared that we didn't go to the playoffs. It was about, we in the Rose Bowl, let's enjoy this experience. Let's win this game. Mm-hmm. And we went out there and we did that. And that was like one of my favorite games I played in. Like it was so back and forth, and they wanted to say that they was going to out physical us with all of this run and Jonathan Taylor and all that. And we did Pac-12 and making these statements in the interviews, and then boom, we come out there, we playing physical, playing them tough, holding Jonathan Taylor in 100 yards for the first time that season. So I think it was a special moment for Oregon and for that team, man. I love that team, and I miss those guys.
Yeah, it was a great game too. Great game for the fans too.
Yeah, but, exactly. It was definitely more a nail biter than it needed to be, bro.
Were you surprised to see how well Herbert played in his rookie year? Never. Not surprised at all.
Nah, I wanted to say earlier that any year Herbert was on the team, I thought we should have went to the college football playoff because he's like the stuff he do at practice, and I was just so happy for him that we won that Rose Bowl, and then it just went up for him from there.
That's why I don't get when people like talk about the Pac-12 not making the playoff. I mean, if that team right there, you guys give up a last-second drive to Bo Nix, where some of that stuff was more lucky than good in that Auburn game for Auburn.
Yeah, man.
And then you lose to Arizona State by what, 6 points? I mean, those are your only 2 losses that season.
Yeah, we ran a punt back. That Auburn game haunts me to this day because we ran the punt back to the 1, and then we had a bad snap, and then everything just went downhill from there. Like, I'm still mad about it, but it's whatever. No, for real, because I hate that when I come home, my friend, like, not, people see me and they talk about you went to the Pac-12. Like, it's still a good conference.
Yeah, we definitely got to put some respect on the Pac-12. But just going back to that Rose Bowl game, going up against Wisconsin, and just like you said earlier, Jordon, that was the first time that Jonathan Taylor was held with under 100 yards for the season. So as scouts, as players, as coaches, or whatever the case may be, we always talk about the in-game matchups, the matchups within the game. So as a defensive unit and being on a part of the defensive line in the trenches, how glorifying that was to actually, hold Jonathan Taylor under 100 yards. Was that something that you guys talked about coming into the game? Was that something that you worked on? What was the scheme of it?
Basically, once we found out we was playing Wisconsin, the whole defense was like, it ain't going to be no Jonathan Taylor show. It's not going to be that. Like, we didn't talk about no yards or nothing. It was just we not having the Jonathan Taylor highlight that you see on ESPN. They're not going to be downhill physical ball. Like, they're not going to out physical us. That's not how they're going to win. If they're going to win, they're going to have to beat us a different way because it won't be running the ball. And I feel like that mentality carried us to that win. The whole team took over that mentality. Even the O-line, during the week, they're like, we're more physical than Wisconsin. Like, you guys got this. Like, it was just that's what I'm saying, man. That team was very special.
That's some good stuff right there. So just throughout your college career, what was one of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome? Was it like, losing the weight? Was it learning the playbook? Was it playing through, this past COVID year? What was some of the biggest obstacles that you went through from your time out in Oregon?
Probably I'll say the weather change, man. That was pretty tough for me my freshman year. I won't lie. Like, I never thought about leaving, but like the first it was a record. Like in my first 120 days, it rained every day when I got to Oregon. So
And
I
it's like
was
that all day kind of rain. It's not like Florida,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it's like gloomy and sad, and you wake up, it's raining, but it's dark, and then you go to class and it's raining, and then you go to tutoring, it's raining. And I was
Yeah,
like, bro, what is this going to ever end? Like, what's up with this cycle?
that has to be the worst. That has to be the worst.
Yeah, man. Especially coming from Florida, like they were saying about seasonal depression and all of that. I was like, man, I hope it's not like this all year for real, because it was tough.
So out of your whole collegiate career, so the weather, we're
Hey,
going
that's
with
a
the
Florida
weather.
guy for you right there. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Hey, I always tell you live up north. I lived up north for a few years, a couple years ago, Jordan. I always tell people, hey, this winter stuff, it's optional. You can opt out of it. It's not forever.
Yeah, man. I come from Florida, bro. It's just sunny every day, and when it does rain, it rains for about 30
5
minutes, and
minutes,
then the sun right back out, and it's hot. But I enjoyed working, man, and it was a blessing. It taught me a lot, and in those days that it was raining every day, it was tough, but it was worth it though.
That's good. So we're actually going to dive into your journey to the draft right now. You had an opportunity to play another year at Oregon, with the NCAA granting eligibility for another year because of the COVID year. Did it ever cross your mind to come back for another year, or you felt like you was NFL ready after the season?
No, I wasn't trying to come back to college, man. One, I played 4 years. I feel like I had enough tape to. I was gonna leave after the Rose Bowl, but I just wanted to get one more season under my belt. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and that got weird. But
Yo, talk about give us like some insights, because we read about it as fans, but like, I mean, this is being recorded, so like 10 years from now, like, give us the everyday nastiness of this COVID thing. Like, how are you sticking something up to your brain every day? How often were you guys testing? Like, I know the Pac-12 was even more stringent, so you guys were dealing with a whole are we not going to play deal too on top of that. Like, I mean, let's hear about the day-to-day. Like, well, first off, like, with the season gets canceled, where was your mind? Did you guys ever believe that was going to be fully canceled, or did you think, we're going to figure this out?
So it actually started our fourth spring practice before COVID actually hit. It was in the middle of practice, like we practicing normal, and we were supposed to go to Portland that Saturday. And Coach Cristobal calls practice up, be like, after today, spring ball is going to be canceled due to this COVID taking a big spike, and we're going to have to send you guys home for at least 2 to 3 months. Like, and then that's when I was like, okay, so this COVID stuff must be real. And then while we were home,
Oregon was one of the early hit states too, if I recall correctly, right? On a big scale. Yeah.
And so send us home, and while we're all home, and then we get the season's back on, so everybody flying back, and then boom, the season's canceled, like no football at all, like nothing. So they just sent us home. They like, we're hoping to get it back. Like that was the talk before we left. It was like, we're hoping to get to something, like at least 6 to 7 games, but it's not looking good right now. And that's when COVID was at its highest. So, we were home for about 3-4 months, and then boom, just like that, they tell us, all right, y'all got to come back. We got a 6-game season, and then a championship game. And I had been working out with my guy, Coach Marcus, the whole time, so I was ready. And come back, and then basically a day in the life of COVID at Oregon. You wake up, testing, so you get tested every day. You walk in, you got to get your little slip. Then they stick it in your nose, just like you said. And then, you got to wait for your test to come back before you can go to meetings and be around other players. So the whole time you like just eating breakfast and waiting for the test results. And then once that clears, you go to meetings. And then pretty much it was like, the meetings aren't even regular. Like, it's not everybody in the meeting at once, how you normally do. Like, we never had a full special teams meeting. and that was pretty much, you know, at practice you had to wear a mask under your helmet.
For real? Oh, under the helmet.
Yeah, it was either you could wear the mask under the helmet like this kind, or we had the gaithers, which is like a pull up, or you could wear the one like this. That's on the face mask.
Yeah.
And then that pretty much was life every day, man. Test, wake up, get the test, and then if you pass the test, then it's pretty much, you know, COVID social distancing life, but the same football schedule.
Did you guys ever give the one thing I noticed as a fan on TV is a lot of the coaches, they were pretty good about the mask, except when they needed to get super close to somebody's face and scream and spit, then they took it off to do all that. I feel like that's the time where the mask is probably needed more. Did you guys ever go like, yo, coach? You guys ever call him out on that? Probably not when you're getting yelled at the moment.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, bro. You don't want to be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, probably not at the moment. Just
but
observation.
Definitely in meetings though. In meetings, it used to be funny because, you know, like coaches when they trying to emphasize something, pull the mask, and everybody be like, COVID protocol, because they were pushing protocol so heavy because, you know, the COVID it's like you don't even know when or what or how you got it. So they was pushing protocol heavy. So we used to play the joke on Coach Joe a little bit. You know?
Yeah, one of the things, a lot of the things that obviously it's your senior year, man. I'm sorry that this had to happen this time. I mean, it sucks to happen anytime, right? But tough to go through. Senior year is supposed to be a pretty special time too. But man, you guys lost the Ohio State game this year. Ohio State was supposed to come to town. How the team, was there a little bit of a mourning period, even though you guys ended up going with the season? I mean, it sounds a little serious. Like obviously there's real things going on in the world and we all have perspective, but I mean, there's expectations attached to a season as well. Were you guys super bummed about only playing a half a season for a while, or were you just grateful to have anything at all?
Yeah, pretty much grateful because, you know, everybody else, other conferences were going, other conferences was getting it going, and we were at home, and then we finally got we're going to play this game. So everybody was like, all right, whatever, we'll take what we can get. Obviously, when we all first got back together, we were all disappointed about that Ohio State game because we know that was a big game, and everybody pretty much before COVID and during the workouts, everybody working out with that mindset, like we get to kick it off with Ohio State. Like we're going to see if we're really good, you know, testing our might and against those guys who supposed to be ranked, where were they at 2 preseason or whatever. So
yeah.
It was going to be a good game, but we missed out on a good opportunity, man. I wish we could have played that game though.
Well, you guys end up going through the season. I believe you end up 3-2 in the regular season. You end up getting the game with Washington canceled though, and Washington technically had the one loss on the record, but they had COVID issues, so you guys get to replace them in the Pac-12 title game.
We would have won that game. We would have won that game though. Definitely.
Hey, look, you guys, do you have a shirt that says Pac-12 champions in your closet somewhere?
Definitely.
Yeah, you do. So, yeah, we don't have to question that. You won the Pac-12. You won it. But did you guys expect that to happen, or did you expect the Pac-12 to be like, well, sorry, Oregon? Like, it's awesome that they gave you guys an opportunity, but, I mean, Washington's probably sitting there going like, man, we got that was a really weird situation.
Yeah, well, players wise, you know, we were all like, man, we hope that they don't try to give them, you know, because they had the COVID issues. So we was hoping like, since they had the issues, then it shouldn't be us that has to suffer because they had COVID. Plus, we were all logically thinking like, if they have a COVID outbreak, then they wouldn't be able to play in the game next week if they can't play our game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we were hoping for. And then the coaches were like, what we're gonna do is control what we can control, and we game plan to play against whatever team that was other than in the Pac-12. And then once we got the news from the Pac-12, immediately flipped to a game plan for USC, and you see how that went.
You guys jumped them. You guys jumped them early and held on. But I mean, you guys got a lot of guys from LA on that team, right?
Yeah, boys.
How meaningful was that for them to go home and get that done?
Yeah, man, I felt real happy for them guys, especially because we all came in together. Nick and Demo, we all came in together, and to be able to play the Pac-12 championship at the Coliseum down the street from where some of them guys live and their family. That was probably the only game that their family were able to come to. So it was a cool experience, and I'm pretty happy that the Pac-12 did what was right and let us into that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, clearly the Pac-12 definitely did what was right, because you guys came out victorious, being Pac-12 champs. So let's just fast forward to, postseason. We know that you was an East-West Shrine game selection, even though the game got canceled. What was your thoughts on, actually being a selection for the East-West Shrine game?
Oh man, he was blessing growing up living in St. Pete. That's where the game is played, and every year of my school life, basically from all the way to elementary to high school, you would get those tickets from your teacher the week of the Shrine game, and you'll be seeing the commercials all week and stuff like that. So it was a pretty big honor for me to be able to not play in the game, but to have that honor of being one of the guys selected to play in it. I wish we could have played. Really sad that we couldn't, because my whole family would have been there, and that probably was the first game of my collegiate career that my family was there for, because being in Oregon, they only got to come to like 3 games total out of my whole college career. So, but it was a great honor, and I'm very appreciative of the Shrine Bowl.
So we know that the actual game was canceled, but it was actually some virtual team meetings and gatherings. Could you walk us through with that experience, and if you talk to any professional scouts or any NFL teams during that process?
Yeah, I can't remember, because I was in the NFLPA Bowl too, so I talked to two people, but I think it was Shaq Barrett that we talked to from the Shrine Bowl, and he was it was a Zoom with him. I want to say, Nick Mullins from the 49ers.
49ers.
Quarterback.
Yeah. And they was giving us some good insight into, since we're not playing the game, it's not much you can really do to boost your stock other than your pro day, but don't put too much weight onto when you get drafted or any of that. Either way, when you get your opportunity, you gotta go out there and perform and earn a roster spot, and that's all that matters.
That's good stuff right there. So just going into a scheme question. So we know in the NFL, it's going to be multiple schemes being played. You got your 3-4, you got your 4-3. Which scheme do you prefer to play in, or do you have the ability to adjust your game no matter what? And it really doesn't matter what scheme is played.
I think I showed that at Oregon, that we went from the 3-4 with Levitt to the 4-3, and then hybrid with Coach Avalos. We ran 4-3, 3-4, 5-2 sometimes. Like it was all type of fronts with Coach Avalos. So I think I showed the ability to be able to do both. Personally, I like to play a true zero or a head up on the guard. That's really like I like to be able to tee off on a guy head up.
So just kind of wrapping this interview up. If you had any tips out there for a young player who plays on the D line, what would that one piece of advice be, and why?
I'll say, man, besides all the fancy moves and all of that, find you 1 or 2, 3, maybe 1 or 2, and then work from there. But one or two moves that work and perfect them. And I'm talking about, because even pass rush moves are also run fit moves as well, as long as it's not completely whiffing a block. So you got to find what works for you and what best suits your talent, and perfect those. And then from that, you counter and get stuff like that. But don't try to do too many moves, because then you never really get good at one.
It's good stuff right there. But before I let you go, I know you're a Florida guy. I see you got the locks. You got the locks hanging down or whatever like that. And you had this division of equity and inclusion. Just talking about, don't touch my hair with your dreadlocks. Could you talk about the symbolism of your dreadlocks and what they mean, from a person being from Florida and just, being in the NFL and just showing that professionalism, because there's a lot of narratives out there surrounding, dreadlocks. So could you talk about, your hair and what it means to you? And, do you like to see other players on your team with them? Could you just talk to us about that? Because, a couple years ago, we had the fan from Penn State actually, right there.
Yeah, I seen that.
I just wanted to get your, your opinion on that and just talk about, your hair and what it means to you.
First, I want to give the shout out to Don't Touch My Hair came from the Art of the Athlete, and Lisa, she set that program up, and that program allowed me to go to France 2 times with that program while I was at Oregon. It was a great experience. And if you go to Oregon, get in touch with Lisa because it's a great program.
What part of France, Jordon?
We went to Aix-en-Provence, and then we went to Paris.
Very cool. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I was just curious.
No, you good. My favorite museum, since you were talking about it, Musée d'Orsay. It was pretty much a lot of black art in that museum, and that was my first time even knowing that there was black art kept in the museum. So that was pretty cool for me to experience. But just to get back on the hair situation, my dad always had long dreadlocks when I was growing up, and I always, I wanted to be like my dad, have dreads, and he told me about what dreads meant to him and all of that, and I was like, well, for me, I want to change the stigma around a black man with dreads, and how people view us, because for a long time, black guys with dreadlocks looked at criminals or a thug or something of that nature, and I just wanted to prove to people that you can have dreads and still be a professional individual and still lead a professional life. So that's the reason I'm carrying my dreads, and I had them for 5 years now. I'm pretty proud of my hair, and it means a lot to me that you guys brought that up, actually, because that's some things that football has allowed me to highlight. Other things outside of the sport that I play is the issues that the people in my community face. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up.
Nah, no problem. Definitely. I wish I could rock the dreads if I can grow them. Unfortunately, I can't grow them, but yeah. So I was definitely, just wanted to hear your opinion on that. Just being from the state of Florida, making that transition out to Oregon, and just being in a different culture change and climate change as well. So thanks for giving us that.
Yeah, definitely, man. And it's different, man, having dreads. You get those looks sometimes, but you just got to keep it going. The more I've grown up and start to realize that the world is going to look at you regardless, with that same stigma, but it's your plan and action to change that. And every day, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm glad you guys brought that up for real. That's big time from you guys.
Nah, good stuff. So, Nick, you got anything to add on that?
No. I was just I thought you were gonna have me close that. If you got anything else, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much my last question for Jordon. If you got any shout outs that you want to do, Jordon, this will be your time. Have people follow your Twitter handle, your IG. I know one of your nickname is Mac. So do you like that nickname, and is that something that you grew up with or something that you develop over time?
I love your Twitter handle, by the way.
Appreciate it. Pretty much my brother gave me that nickname when I was probably in like 4th or 5th grade. He was just like, because I really used to have a little insecurity about being overweight. Like my brother was like, bro, it's cool, bro. Like you're not fat. You fat, but you're not sloppy. So, Fat Mac. And I've just been rocking with it ever since.
That's awesome. Right there. I like that.
That's good. Well, hey, Jordon, this is awesome. You're super open. Great interview, man. And, we always tell anybody comes on our podcast, you got 2 new fans right here. We will be rooting for you actively. I know we're going to be fired up when you do get drafted here through this crazy draft process. But in the meantime, man, best of luck going through it right now, because I know we're not out of the woods with all this COVID stuff yet. So I know you're probably still dealing with a little bit of that down there. You said you're training in Naples, but Hey, man.
Yeah, I'm training at Naples at TAP with Derek Touche. I had to give my guy a shout out.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good to hear. And hey, we appreciate you joining us. And again, thanks to Shark Sports Management, Cliff Brady, and Ryan Downey for helping set this up too. So we appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for joining American Football Stories.
Yeah, man. Follow me Instagram and Twitter at fat_Mac34. It's the same on both.
It's good follow, people.
Go follow
him.
Yeah, quality content. I'm dropping music. I drop music. I drop sports takes on Twitter. What else I do on Twitter? Oh, a little social activism. You know, I want to do what you guys doing when I'm done with football, man. So I just want to use my platforms as best I can to help me facilitate that.
Well, hey, man, anytime you want to come on, if you got anything you want to get out there, come on. You're welcome anytime.
All right. Appreciate it, you guys.
All right, Jordon. Thanks. Have a good night.
You too, man.
American Football Stories is brought to you by Coach Paint. Coach Paint is a great tool that allows us to add graphics to player highlight clips similar to the graphics you see on TV. Coach Paint offers the ability to clearly tell a straight video while increasing retention of information in a shorter amount of time. Up your game with Coach Paint today.
Thank you for listening to American Football Stories podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, American Football Stories. We are working to grow our network on YouTube and we'd love to have you subscribe. You can find us also on Apple Podcasts, on Twitter at American FB Story, and on our website, AmericanFootballStories.com. I am Robert Parker. My co-host is Nick Knudsen. This has been another episode of American Football Stories.